Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Golden Astrologer Podcast. This is Deb McBride, and I am in lovely Escazú, Costa Rica, broadcasting to you from there. And today is Sunday, the 30th of July in the year 2023. This is the end of July. So now we are entering August on Tuesday this week, and it is just a year that is flying by. So, the first thing I want to talk about is that I have my immersion that I am offering. It is a 5-week immersion, and I would love for you to attend. We are going to start not this Tuesday the 1st, but I believe Tuesday the 8th of August, so I gave myself more time to promote it. And it is all about love and money, relationships and finances. And the reason we're doing this, and I'm doing this, is because it is Venus retrograde, as you know, and as you have been hearing on my podcast. So Venus has been retrograde for about a week, and we still have another 5 weeks or so of Venus retrograde, 5-6 weeks or so. And it will be retrograde until early September, and then she goes direct, but we still are in the shadow for a little while through most of September, and then eventually she will leave the sign she is in, which is Leo, in October and move forward. But we are looking at a time period of 5 weeks where I will go deep with you into clearing and releasing anything that is holding you back financially, relationship-wise, and we will be going over various things such as the emotions of finances, such as sabotage patterns, boundaries, the energetics of abundance. Boundaries are a big deal in both money and relationships, absolutely. And it doesn't have to be a love relationship with a partner. It could be with your children, with your family, however that is, and whatever is really taking up some emotional space for you that can be released. So I invite you can go to my website and book it. It's called Harmonizing Prosperity, Syncing Heart, Soul, and Wallet. And that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be looking at how all of those things relate to one another, and also polarities, masculine, feminine dynamics, those kinds of things that we contain within us. And when we work on our relationships, we're also opening up to a new level of worthiness. Again, that spells money. Lots of things that are in synchronicity with one another like that. So we're going to look at all those things. 5 weeks with me on Tuesdays, and please join. So as we move forward into the week ahead, and we have this first week of August, this has been the last week of July, fully ending tomorrow. And first thing we have is a full moon. So we have the full moon in Aquarius because, as you know, we're in Leo season. And Monday is the 1st. And the full moon is at 9 degrees Aquarius. And that full moon will occur at 2:32 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 12:32 p.m. my time. And it is really, an interesting dynamic because we've got a bunch of things. Well, Venus is in Leo and it's retrograde, and the sun is in Leo, and now Mercury is in Virgo, which we'll talk about and we'll get to. But really, this is Leo season, and there's always a full moon in Aquarius. So that's going to give us a nice shot of air energy, which we need because other than the South Node in Libra, we don't really have any air in the sky. And we're not going to have any air in the sky until planets start to go into Libra, which is like Mercury and Mars and everything, and eventually Venus and stuff. But that's not yet. That's not for a while. And so we need that shot of thinking, analyzing, thoughtfulness, balanced mind energy. Okay? And when the moon goes into Aquarius this week, and it makes that full moon aspect with the sun, then that experience is going to give us some juice, some thinking, some analysis, some high level thought processes, because that's what Aquarius is, and some global thinking, bigger thinking, and that's a very positive thing. We like that, right? And there's nothing in Aquarius right now because Pluto is in Capricorn at the end of Capricorn and going to be there for a little while. So the great news is that we can work with this Aquarian energy and expand our awareness of all things humanitarian, altruistic, the experience of, Leo versus Aquarius. Leo is very affection-oriented. Aquarius is a little cooler, a little more detached. So that balance of Leo and Aquarius we're going to get to explore this week, okay? Now, at the same day, on Tuesday the 1st, Mars, the planet that has been in Virgo for the last couple weeks, is going to reach a very nice point discussing with Jupiter in Taurus. So Mars is in Virgo, Jupiter's in Taurus, and they are even now having a very lovely relationship. This is a trine, okay? And that's like a triangle that they make. And as I speak, there is a grand Earth trine in the sky with Mars at 12, the moon is at 12 Capricorn, and Jupiter is at 13 Taurus. So things can manifest very profoundly for us when there is this earth balance. And this is a great thing because earth is the material world. It is Mother Earth. It is what we have in our hand. It is your ground, your house, your feet on the ground. And it is also something that, it's your body too. Mars is in Virgo. We think about the human body and its processes with Virgo. And this is such an incredible, nice trine because this doesn't happen very often, okay? Jupiter's in Taurus, and Jupiter doesn't go into Taurus but once every 12 years, and so that Mars is making a nice relationship to it. Well, this is all good, and now the moon is there in Capricorn. So this is a very good balance of Earth energy that we are having while I am speaking in this moment here on the 30th of July. And it is what I think... we're in this really good relationship, and we can open to our own abundance. It's a good thing, Jupiter and Taurus. We can open to our own health. That's, Jupiter and the moon trining Mars. All these good, balanced, earthy things. And then when we get to Tuesday, there's going to be an exact trine of Mars and Jupiter. Now, Mars is an active energetic planet. It's a planet of taking action. It's a planet of assertion. It's a planet of stepping forward with intention. Okay, and then when it's making a good relationship to Jupiter, this is a really good energy for manifestation of something material, like I said. So imagine what you can embody right now: physical well-being, emotional well-being. Step into the embodiment of those things, okay? Things, and then start to watch them evolve around you in your world. This is like the meditations I do with Joe Dispenza. It's about feeling into something and calling it to you and bringing it to your body, your feeling state, your emotional state, your embodiment state. And so while Mars is in Virgo, and Virgo is the sign of health and work, and, we especially start to take care of ourselves differently in a health sense with things in Virgo. And now we've got 2 planets in Virgo. We've got Mars in Virgo, and we've got Mercury in Virgo. This is really a good time to take action on things that are going to be for your well-being, okay? With a trine to Jupiter, very much about your well-being, okay? Big things about your well-being. And the trine to the moon in Capricorn today is also it's more of that feeling into well-being and wellness, okay? Now, as we move into Virgo, Mercury rules Virgo, as you know, as you've heard me say, and Mercury entered Virgo the other day. Mercury entered Virgo, and Mercury's been a busy little guy because remember what I said, there was information coming. information coming in. I certainly got information, and I got some really life-changing, good life-changing information the other day, and it's been like staying with me ever since. So this is really a story. Like I said, there's a story evolving. Remember, there's a story. And that Mercury in Leo really triggered the story when Mercury conjunct Venus on Thursday, when Mercury was making that in conjunct to Neptune on Wednesday and then to Pluto on Thursday. Remember, there was a story evolving that has been going on for weeks because Mars made the aspect, Venus made the aspect, and Mercury did it the other day. And now for me, I understand my story. What is your story? What have you felt? What has been going on for you that is now starting to come together and make sense? And what happened then is that Mercury went into Virgo, and it likes being in Virgo. It's analytical there. It gets its ducks in a row. It's all organized. The spreadsheets are done. The paperwork is laid out. It's all good as far as details. Mercury just loves those details when it's in Virgo. But Mercury is going to go retrograde in Virgo, and it's going to go retrograde in Virgo on the 23rd of August, right? So it's going to plow through Virgo. It's going to do its thing, and then it's going to start to slow down. And just as the sun is entering Virgo, the very day that the sun enters Virgo, because that's about when Virgo season starts, Mercury in Virgo will go retrograde later that afternoon. And so then we're going to have both Mercury and Venus retrograde. And the sun never goes in retrograde. The moon doesn't retrograde, but Mars will not be in retrograde. Everybody else is Jupiter's not going to be in retrograde just yet either. But they will definitely, with Mercury and Venus, this is interesting because now these are inner planets, and everybody knows what Mercury retrograde is about, and everybody has heard me talk about Mercury retrograde. And what does Mercury retrograde do? Mercury retrograde asks us to rethink, revisit, refine, reorganize, and do things that are, necessary for our mental organization, mental well-being, and all the details of what we need to do with our mercurial matters in our life, all the details. And it could be the details of your schedule. It could be, people are going to have their kids going back to school and stuff in September. And, maybe you just got to kind of get more organized and ready. You're going to do things differently this year or something. Mercury will be retrograde until the 14th of September. And then it'll go direct on the 14th, 15th of September at 8 degrees of Virgo. So once Mercury hits 8 degrees this week, Mercury will be then in its shadow, right? So when we have both Mercury and Venus retrograde, and if you are going to join my immersion, my 5-week immersion, that will be part of it. We're going to be really exploring things, going deep, stepping back. Then I would tend to think that we're going to get into the mercurial aspect of things. Mercury is going to go into its shadow on this Friday, the 4th of August. And what we're looking at is then some real interesting information about, we're going to go deeper with our organization, our finances, our relationships, how we are communicating with people, right? So I think that this is all very, very interesting. And whenever like Mercury goes retrograde the same time, say Venus goes retrograde, I think there was a bit of that going on at the end of 2021 and early 2022. I think Mercury and Venus were going to be overlapping in their retrogrades. And so that's what we start to look at. We start to look at things a little more deeply, a little more focused, a little more concentrated, all that kind of stuff, right? So the experience of that is very, very much about how we operate in our relationships and if you want to get clear on your communication skills in your relationships, this is the time to do it. And any relationship, whether that's with your partner, your family, your cat, anything. Maybe your cat just doesn't get it. Maybe your cat doesn't get it. Maybe your hamster doesn't get it. But and those small animals. Virgo is small animals. Anything Virgo is small animals. So if your hamster doesn't get it, then maybe this is the time to rewind the tape and re-explain to your hamster. I'm being silly. But yes, so we're going to have this Virgo energy. So right now it's a lot of Leo Virgo. We're in that time of year. And so in that time, we start to, we're going to start to question things. We're going to question the way we do things. We're going to question our health protocol. We're going to question our organizational skills. It's the time to clear the closets, clean the house, do the feng shui. People up north will get ready for autumn because, August 23rd, we go into Virgo season. My teacher always said that once the sun goes into Virgo, it's already back to school time. And I always disagreed with that because, for college, because people go back to college in August. But I always disagreed with that because, September is September and people think autumn. And autumn does not occur until, we go into Libra season at the end of September. People start talking about fall at the end of August. No, it's still summer. And believe me, after living in New York City for so many years, it is still summer in New York at the end of September. I've remembered being 90 degrees in September. Believe me, I was using my air conditioner September, sometimes October. So things did not, and we can talk about climate change, but yes, when I was a kid, that still happened too. It was still hot in September. But when we're dealing with Mercury retrograde, it is always, especially in its own sign, it's a little bit better in its own sign, but really we're dealing with, the rewind, the rethink, the reestablish, the revalue, revisit. And, it's always a tricky time. Mercury can be a trickster, and it's always asking us to double check everything. Now, you want to double check your numbers, your finances, your everything with the experience of Mercury and Venus retrograde at the same time. Great time to have a garage sale. Great time to have a garage sale. Great time to go to garage sales. All of that stuff. And those are all good Venus Mercury retrograde things. But it does cause us some time to pause, rethink, and review what we're doing. And they're not in the same sign, but they are retrograde together at the same time. And those last, 10 days or so together, Mercury, it's the first 10 days of Mercury's retrograde and the last 10 days of Venus retrograde. But they're still going to be wobbly together. And, Mercury only stays retrograde about 3 weeks. So that's only that's like half the cycle. That's the first half of Mercury retrograde that Venus will be retrograde alongside it. So do be aware of this. And of course, here we are. It's not even the 1st of August yet, and I'm talking about August 23rd. This is giving you foresight to take care of matters before Mercury goes retrograde. So if you need to do things and call people and communicate and go shop for a new computer, do it now. Do not buy a new computer during the Mercury and Venus retrograde. Don't do that. It's a lot of money, Venus, for things that could go wrong, Mercury retrograde. So if you need to do things like that, this is why Deb has her podcast. I'm telling you to go take care of that now. Okay, we don't want to be thinking about I was supposed to do that. But, Venus retrograde, you could get a good price on it. It's not a technological issue with Venus retrograde. Okay, it's Mercury, that's more of a problem when you're buying a new computer. You might be able to get a used computer at a great deal under Venus retrograde and get it checked out, and it's fine. You got to do your homework about it. But I wouldn't do it under Mercury retrograde because there's information. Mercury's more about information. Venus retrogrades, we're getting a good deal, But this is something you have to pay attention to. And if you want to wait till all the retrogrades are over, then you can wait until, we get into later in September and everything is clear and we go into October and everybody's out of their shadow and you can then safely purchase what you need to purchase. But you also want to know that any kind of communications you need to have with people should be done now. So that's where that stands. Tuesday continues to be another part of a big day or big part of the week as Mercury in Virgo opposes Saturn. Now, Saturn is in Pisces and it's at 5 degrees, and Mercury will get to about 5 degrees and they'll be in opposition on Tuesday. So that's lots happening. So Tuesday is really the big day this week, with Mars trine Jupiter, with the full moon in Aquarius, and then Mercury in Virgo will oppose Saturn. And this is not something that's going to occur again during the retrograde. So it's not like where Venus retrograde is going to be talking to Jupiter and Uranus again and again. It's not that. It's Mercury opposing Saturn is just happening once. So this is a tricky little aspect. And Mercury is, like the planet of communication in its own sign. And then when Saturn, it gets involved with Saturn and it's in opposition, it's a stressful aspect, but it's also an aspect that asks us to balance. It is about looking at information, and it's also about our thoughts. Mercury is about thinking. It's communicating, it's thinking, it's articulating, it's speaking. But Mercury opposite Saturn is really where we can start to get a little bummed. Now, that's what we don't want to have happen. We don't want Mercury to go opposite Saturn and we're all in a bad mood and we feel kind of down and discouraged and our focus is not clear, which it needs to be under a Mercury Saturn. It's a really good aspect for focusing on like detailed work. Really good for that. But the idea here is to not allow Saturn to get in the way of ideas. And it's a good way to critically look at your ideas, take a critical viewpoint of your ideas, or, like get things down on paper that are ideas. But also, it's a really good time to really become aware of your thought patterns and to do something about it. Meaning that if something is going to spiral you into doubt, and you get spiraled into doubt because you get triggered by something, and that's something you recognize on a regular basis, this is where you need to pay attention and not allow those things to happen. It's very complicated, but it asks us, Mercury Saturn asks us to pay close attention to how we think. Okay, and this is something that is really beneficial to each of us and vital to our lives. We have to pay attention to our thoughts. I had a dialogue, and I caught myself in this. And this is the thing, you have to catch yourself. I had a dialogue with a friend, and I was describing my holographic system, which is called New Vision. And it is a very profound tool for scanning anything, scanning the holographic field or the quantum field of anything, a person, an animal, a piece of property, anything. And when I explained it, I had to explain it to someone, and explaining this tool is not simple. As you just heard me say, it scans the quantum field of anything, a person, and anything alive, right? And so I explained it to someone, and I said to a third party who connected us, I said, they're probably going to think I'm nuts. And she's, no, it's impossible. And I went off by myself, and I'm thinking, oh, God, they're going to just think I'm off my rocker. And I caught myself, and I said, why would you think that? Because my friend said to me, impossible. Anything groundbreaking is intimidating at first. And I thought, yeah, this is very true. This is very true. And I had to shift and change my thinking and my perspective about it and say, no. You have something groundbreaking. You have this incredible tool. You've had it for years. You are just describing what it does, and they should be interested and want to know more because it is fascinating. And that's exactly how they came back to me. Yes, this is fascinating and amazing, and there's lots of use for this. And so, right, that's an example of Mercury Saturn. I could easily send myself into a spiral of doubt about something that is really valuable because I'm not I'm not seeing it that way. I'm seeing it as, oh, nobody ever gets it, and I'm tired of explaining something that nobody ever gets. And when I stopped myself, I realized that no, we have to change the thought. This is what I'm talking about. This is where we have the level of awareness we have to have, hopefully every day, hopefully every day in our lives, but particularly under Mercury, Saturn. You cannot discourage yourself. And I can't stress this enough, because when that Mercury comes opposite Saturn, you might go to bed on Tuesday night and say, oh, God, today was just impossible. It was an awful experience, blah, blah. No, you've got to change the way you look at things. And the other day I did a video on Instagram, and if you haven't seen it, you should go look at it. And it's a little long, but I talked about viewing things from a perspective of lack of gratitude. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. When we have Mercury and Saturn, we need to up-level the thinking. We need to say, no, I'm not going to allow myself to degenerate into that old pattern. I'm going to say, look at all I have. I'm grateful for everything. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that this occurred, because then I can learn to do this. And now I can shine even brighter because I'm learning to do something powerful with, the tools that I'm experiencing. And gratitude. And gratitude gets us so much further in life than lack. And we can focus on what isn't happening and what's not happening and what's not doing what we want it to, or how we don't have this or that, or what we really need is something. More love, more money, more relationships, more friends, more experience, etc. Whatever the lack is, you can turn it around and say, well, I have all this experience with this, and therefore I can use it in this way. So I figure it out. And that's what Saturn and Mercury want us to do. They want us to figure it out. And there's a way of figuring it out and getting through our conundrums and our thoughts that we can't figure it out, and our thoughts that we can't do it. If you think, I can't do that, I just can't do that, you got to think again. That's what Mercury. Saturn's always work, folks. Saturn is always work. And Saturn, until we work it through, is going to give us more work until we get to what we need to get to. Saturn is fear. Saturn is anxiety. Saturn is where we get past fear and anxiety, where we transcend it, rise above it, work through it, so that we can expand and learn and grow and get past it to a better experience and expansive experience of our life. So it's so important to pay attention to your thought patterns, especially in the upcoming days. The more you pay attention now, the better off you're going to be when we get past Mercury and Saturn, and you're like, I learned how to do this, and I learned how to think on a more expansive level and focus on gratitude instead of lack. And it's so necessary. There's so much information coming at us on a regular basis at warp speed. Like this morning, I was like, I looked at Instagram and I can't. I just put it down. I said, I can't right now. Doesn't mean never. It just means in that moment, I did not need that. I'm just like, oh, too much. And, it's important that we have a filter for what we're taking in and what we're not constantly eating. Information is like food. It's like anything else. Whatever we take in is going to affect us. And you have to be very careful about what you take in. Don't let people who are having a bad day make your day bad. Don't let people in the news tell you stories that are going to get you depressed. And Tuesday's a really good day to maybe not watch the news. Okay? So there's lots going on. Tuesday's the big day this week, and I want you to pay attention to your thoughts, catch the ones that don't serve you, and turn them around, turn them inside out, and find the silver lining, the real profound gratitude in whatever it is, okay? because we're always learning something. And Saturn gives us the opportunity to learn. It gives us the opportunity to overcome our fears and our anxieties. It gives us the opportunity to stretch from where we are now to where we can be in a greater expansion. Now, we think of Jupiter as the planet of expansion, but and Jupiter's active on Tuesday. Mars and Jupiter are telling us expand, expand, expand. And so we have to take that expansive view, but Saturn gives us the hump to get over to make sure we do get past it. Because if you accept all of Saturn's limitations, all the time, you're not going to get anywhere. If you listen to that voice that chews on your ear and is telling you, oh, that'll never happen, oh, that won't be good, and forget it. You're never going to get anywhere. You've got to think this is amazing, and it's an amazing idea, and it's an amazing experience, okay? So watch your thoughts this week. Watch your thoughts every day, but this is a particularly powerful week for doing that, learning from your thoughts, expanding and going beyond them, and getting past your own fears and anxieties. Mercury's the nervous system, especially in Virgo. It's the nervous system. So regulate your nervous system with this. You don't want to get into a pit of anxiety on Tuesday, okay? Lots of high energy on Tuesday. Okay, so that's my sermon about Tuesday. On Sunday the 6th, which is next Sunday, the next time we meet, the sun will be squaring Jupiter, another expansive aspect. So we are being asked to expand this week, and we are being asked to look deeply at what we want to expand and how we do it. Embody the expansion. If you embody the expansion, you are going to take this much further, and it is going to be, like I was saying today with this nice grand trine in Earth, we want to embody the next level of our life, okay? And that is the week. We are at the end of July. And the next time I see you or we speak to one another, it will be August. But I will be on Instagram. I'm not always tired of Instagram. So you can come to see me on Instagram at The Golden Astrologer. You can come to my website at thegoldenastrologer.com. And if you need to contact me because you would like to join my 5-week immersion about harmonizing prosperity in your world, then you can write to me, deb@debmcbride.com, or info@thegoldenastrologer.com, or you can go right to my website and purchase the class, the immersion. And I always have my services available to you. My expansion mentoring is available. You can work with me 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. And that's a special thing where you get to see me every couple of weeks, and we work together on your life, on your work. We can do strategies, we do energetics, we do everything, okay? And it's an amazing experience to work one-on-one with each other, and we do life together. So if you're interested in that, you can DM me about that too. You can write to me in my email about that. And my astrology services and Reiki are always available. So find it all on my website, thegoldenastrologer.com. Have a beautiful, beautiful week. Thank you for listening. And remember, expand your thoughts, pay attention to your thoughts, and go bigger and deeper. Have a beautiful week. Gratitude for listening.